Hello everyone, I'm MVL, and in this video we're going to be unboxing the Icons of the Realm Spell Effects, Wild Shape and Polymorph Set 2 from WizKids. This includes a bunch of great beasts for your druids Wild Shape, for your spellcasters Polymorph, or as a DM to use as monsters against your party or as animal companions. There's a lot of great value in this set and a lot of great minis as well, so without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox this set. So, as you can see, there are 7 minis included in this set right here. 7 great and classic forms for your D&D games or other role-playing games. On the back here we can see the contents in its entirety. You have a brown bear, you have a dire wolf, you have a giant ape, you have a giant eagle, a giant wolf spider, an owl, and a polar bear included as well. These are on transparent bases, I will add, which is the new way that WizKids have been putting their miniatures on bases. They used to come on black bases like this Shifter Artificer figure right here, also from WizKids. And that's how the bases used to look. Now the plus side of the transparent bases, of course, is that you can see through it to the ground below, which is often helpful when you are playing on a gridded battlefield, which is where the sizes help here. Now I have a couple of these minis already. I have a polar bear right here, which is also a WizKids figure. Nice looking figure right there, polar bear. So I'll have a second polar bear. It can't hurt to have more of these. And I also already had a wolf right here as well, a snarling wolf right here. But it's always good to have more wolves, especially if you're going to use, goblin caves where they might have wolf or warg companions. So it's good to have extras of these things. The main things I wanted to get here were the giant ape and the spider, and it just happened that buying the set, if you can get it at a good deal, you can get this for around about £20 if you look around. You end up getting a better deal to get everything together, and that's why the figures I got from the Polymorph Set 1, which I'll show you in a moment, were essentially, it would have been a better deal to buy the whole set. So I got some figures from the Polymorph Set 1, and I'll show you them on a tile here. So this is to demonstrate the sizing of the figures, and feel free to skip ahead to the unboxing if you want to, but I'll just quickly explain the sizing. So this is a 4x4 tile right here, which would be a gargantuan size, which would be a ancient dragon, if you will. Now the bigger the figure is, the better it is to represent it being able to, reach more enemies in combat or more combatants to be around it. So I have a couple of figures here from the Polymorph Set 1, which again, I probably should have bought the full set because it would have been better than buying them individually in this instance if I shopped around, but I do often prefer to buy individually. So let's say a cat here. This is a cat from Polymorph Set 1. This is a small creature. Small and medium creatures take up 1 square. This right here is a bigger cat. This is a tiger. And this is a large creature, so it takes up 2x2 squares. But in this set as well, there is a huge creature, which takes up 3x3 squares. In the Polymorph Set 1, it was the giant shark right here. And that takes up 3x3 squares, so that's huge. But essentially what this represents is, if you are playing a character like a druid in Dungeons & Dragons, and you want to change shape, and you are using tiles and you are using miniatures, it really helps to represent the figure that you're using with the correct size so that the battle flows more smoothly rather than having to adjust for that on the fly if you weren't using the right base sizes. So I hope that makes sense. And if you did skip ahead to the unboxing, let's go ahead and unbox this. So as you can see, it's a good looking box. There's a nice backdrop on this, which if you wanted to, you could save the backdrop for figure photography if you would like. So I'm going to go ahead and try and open this from the side right here. It seems like there's some sellotape on the side of this box, so I think I'm going to use some scissors to get into this because there's sellotape on both sides of the box. So I will cut into one side to start opening this up and get into these figures and have a look at them. These are pre-painted miniatures. You of course can get unpainted miniatures from WizKid as well, and that will save you some time if you get painted miniatures like I've done here. And I do prefer to do that if you are using a lot of miniatures. It does help to get the pre-painted miniatures. That way you save yourself some time not having to paint them up. And also, you don't have to be as wary as them when you put them into packaging to transport them. I find that when I paint a miniature, I'm significantly more precious about it, like with my Warhammer figures, for example. I paint all of those, and I'm more precious about those when I'm transporting them. So if I was to paint all my D&D miniatures, I think I would want more foam in a case that I was to carry it, or more protective bubble wrap, or what have you. And I'm less caring about them if they're pre-painted, if they weren't painted by me, if that makes any sense. So there's the box away, and like I mentioned, you could probably keep this backdrop right here. It's got kind of a paint splatter effect for figure photography if you wanted to. Something I saw other people doing online, and it seems like a pretty handy thing to do. The back of this is just cardboard, but anyway, I'm sure I've delayed getting to the actual figures enough. So there are 7 figures in this set, as you can see. We'll start with the smallest first, which would be the owl. I was hoping for a giant owl. Giant owl, it does have flying, and it flew out of the box. So let's see if I can find where that giant owl got to. Fell out on the floor. Wow, that was a good start. Right, so here's the owl. It does have flying. It flew right out of the box. There's the owl. So I was hoping to get a giant owl. You've got a giant eagle here, which you could, of course, use as a proxy for that if you wanted to. This is a good-looking figure. Now, even though these are pre-painted, and you can't expect a professionally done paint job, these do look pretty good. The WizKid figures, when it comes to pre-painted, are among, like, as good as it gets for stuff that is going to be pre-painted, you know, not hand-painted. You can't expect hand-painted quality. But this is pretty good, and it is in a pose as if it's flying, so that's pretty good. So that's a flying creature. You've got your owl there. Like I said, I would have preferred a giant owl, but you've got a giant eagle here. Giant owl seems to be pretty hard to get your hands on. It's weird that these very sought-after creature types and beast types, and perhaps polymorph or wild shape shapes, are somewhat hard to get to. As a matter of fact, the giant spider, like a spider on a large base, is very difficult to find online individually, which is another one of the reasons I got this set. So I guess we should go ahead and go on to, let's say, the bears now. So I'll do the bears first, and the large size, if I can get it out of the packaging. This is the brown bear right here. Now, the polar bear is larger than the brown bear, and that represents that the polar bear has increased stats, so it's a more powerful foe. And I like that that is represented by the size of the models. Of course, another thing is that the numbers that's of 15. Now, 15 is included. This is 11 of 15. Of 15 is included in the previous polymorph sets. They did make the first polymorph set with the second set in mind, and it seems to be that that would be all of them, seemingly. I'll take out the polar bear if I can now. This one is also fairly snug in here. Alright, there we go. And as you can see, the polar bear is bigger, representing it being a stronger foe. But it is the same base size. It is a large base size. So there's a look at that. It's a pretty good looking figure as well on all fours. Nice variation actually from the one I already have. And then of course this is 12. Now, actually, one of minor nuisance for me is that the base sizes, the text on the base is never always like, I would like it facing the same direction in accordance to the miniature. But then, you know, these are already pre-done. You can't get everything that you want. If you buy the unpainted WizKids miniatures, you can glue the bases on yourself. So that's one thing. Here's the wolf here, the last of, well, not quite the last of the large minis, because the giant eagle is the last of the large minis, but the penultimate, if you will. Here's the wolf. Different from the one I already have as well, so that's pretty nice. Good looking miniature, this one as well. I like the look of that. And it doesn't seem to be like any or much imperfections that are noticeable for these pre-painted minis. There always will be a little bit off on these pre-painted minis because they are pre-painted. But it seems pretty good to me. It seems pretty good. It seems pretty good quality. And if you can get this set cheap, I would recommend it. The last of the... Oh, I forgot the spider crept in there. So this is the penultimate. There you go. The giant spider. This was a good form as well for subduing enemies. The webs can restrain enemies, giving the rest of your party advantage. You can find spiders with a medium base size very easily, but the large base size is very hard to get your hands on. So that was one of the reasons I really wanted to grab this as well. And my sweaty palms are getting on this. Note, there's just a lot of glue on the base. There you go. I said there would be imperfections. There's a lot of glue on the base of this one. Alright, but there's the... no, I don't like spiders very much, but you know, you've got to have the spider form. There's a giant spider. Anyway, now the penultimate. We're mixing everything up. The giant eagle. A flying form, very popular amongst players for their forms because it has a lot of HP, hit points, and it is very perceptive. And sometimes they're able to carry things as well in their talons. So there's that giant eagle form. Looks very nice as well. Correct base size and in the flying pose as well. And then the biggest one here, the huge miniature, not quite gargantuan but huge, 3x3 on the base size, circular, is the giant ape. The most powerful form you can get when you initially get Polymorph as a spellcaster. So when you get Polymorph as a spellcaster, this is CR7 I believe. It's as powerful as you can get when you get into it. And we'll open this up. Wow, this is really in there. Alright, we'll try and pop this guy out. There we go, we got him. Oh, have we? No. Alright, there we go. Right. Enough of that plastic. So here is the giant ape. Very big figure here, very powerful figure. 2 attacks as standard. You can see the join there from the glue, but then with a model this size you would expect it to be multiple pieces. Very large model. These have 2 attacks as standard and can throw a rock as a ranged attack. So these are pretty versatile and they have lots of hit points, which is why players often transform into the giant ape. So pretty good looking model there. So there you go. That is the Polymorph Set 2 from Wizards of the Coast WizKids brand. Lots of forms here for your druids, your spellcasters, or as monsters for your party to fight against, or as animal companions for, let's say, your rangers or anything else, or as a summoned companion from a spell. Great looking set. If you can get it for cheap, it is definitely good value. There's a lot of WizKids miniatures out there. I've got quite a few in my collection. It's always good to have more. There's more, from a DM perspective, there's more monsters to face against and just to have on hand in case your players want to transform into anything. Anyway, there you go. The Polymorph Set 2 from Wizards of the Coast. Thank you for watching the video. And thank you for checking this out. If you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like. If you've got a comment, don't forget to leave a comment and let me know what you think. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate you watching and checking this out. I have been MVL, and I will catch you next time.